Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SportsPoint brought to you by Pointer Studios. I am your host, Jacob Spoerl. We got a new guest on the show today, Cole Schneider from the UWSP Club Rugby team. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jacob. It's great to be on the show for the first time. I'm really excited to be on the show.
Welcome. I kind of already addressed it. You know, you don't need to be stressed. You said you've only done radio, so I will not be staring at you the whole time when you talk. But yeah, we thank you for coming on. A crazy week of Wisconsin sports once again. Recording this on Monday. So last night, Sunday Night Football for the Packers, that was an experience, to say the least.
I have my thoughts on the game, Jacob, to say the least. I have my thoughts. My roommates were giving me a little crap for yelling at the TV.
Oh,
I think
don't.
I told them to expect it from this year, all right? You need to expect me to yell at the TV.
Yes.
Especially when the Packers are playing terrible.
Yep. Yeah, but there's some good news going on, especially in the baseball world and baseball side of things. We'll get to that in a little bit, but we'll start the show off as we usually do with the Crowning Champion segment. And my crowning champion for this week is Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Last night, Sunday Night Football, he had 6 catches for 58 yards. 3 of those catches, half of his catches were touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, the most in a game in his career, obviously in a contract year. Romeo Doubs, I know Chris Collinsworth said on the broadcast, it looks like he might be the wide receiver 1 for this team, Jordan Love's most trusty guy. Packer fans have been knowing this for at least a year now, and I love Rome so much. So one of the positive takeaways from last night's tie, spoiler alert if you didn't know, was Romeo, and he had a phenomenal performance, great game.
Yeah, that's a great pick there. I mean, he definitely is proving himself in this prove-it year for a contract year for him.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets his extension. I want him to stay with us.
For sure. All right, who's your crowning champion for this week?
For my first ever crowning champion, I chose Micah Parsons in his homecoming to Dallas. He had 3 tackles, 1 sack, 8 pressures, most in the NFL in week 4, and he got double-teamed, I'm sure, on majority of the snaps.
At least.
And
sometimes triple-teamed.
Had a 94.2 PFF rating, leading everybody in the PFF grading. It was just, I'm glad he was able to perform. And like we were talking about earlier before the show, he had the game-saving sack. If he didn't sack Dak as he was rolling to the left, they would have scored.
Yeah, they were in the red zone. They were deep. It was, I believe, second or third in goal. And he was kind of almost being held on that play.
But he came from the opposite side of the field,
too. Exactly. He had to cross on the opposite side of the field to sack Dak from behind. I think it's funny because a lot of people were saying last night, oh, my gosh, for a game that was so marketed to be, Micah Parsons returned home, he didn't really do anything. But I was like, he didn't, go crazy and get multiple sacks, but he still had an impact on the game. And like you just said, he had that game-saving play, that sack on Dak Prescott in overtime that could have resulted in a Packers loss. Of course, it didn't. Ended in a tie. But that's not Micah's fault. He did everything, or at least he did a lot to really help the defense in the game that was mostly lacking. So thank you for your crowning champion. That'll move us right on to the 3-Point Try Campus Roundup, brought to you by Point Brewery. And continually, or as we're continuing on, the flavor of the month, Point Root Beer. I'm going to hand you one out, a nice and cold one. It's made with 100% real sugar. Point Premium Root Beer is handcrafted in small batches with the purest water, genuine Wisconsin honey, and all-natural vanilla. This gold medal-winning recipe is refreshingly delicious, rich, creamy, and caffeine-free, giving it a time-honored traditional draft root beer taste. Oh, how was it?
That was crisp. That was crisp.
Yeah?
I didn't do it in the mic, but that was crisp.
I know. I've been doing it for a while now. It's kind of I'm just used to it.
It's good. Real good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dang. I like when it's cold. It's better when it's cold. Obviously, don't want warm soda. I'll start us off first with UWSP men's and women's soccer. I'll handle both of the teams. Currently, the men's team is 8-1-1. So just like Packers, they've also had a tie. But we're not going to talk about the Packers right now.
About them.
Nope, we're going to give the Pointers their respect. Right now, Jackson Buckley is leading the team in goals with 8. They're just coming off a win at Concordia at Concordia University in Wisconsin in Mequon, where they won 3-2. As of recording this, they got one more non-conference game left at Carroll University in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Like I said, they've got a winning record. They're doing pretty good right now. I think we expect them to win. That'll be on the 30th on Tuesday.
Yeah, they're kicking butt right now. It's only their second season as a varsity sport.
Exactly. You're right. Second
it
season.
It is amazing to see. I think they were middle of the pack last year, but now they're 7 games over 500.
And that's crazy in its own right that in their first season as a sanctioned varsity sport for the university on campus, I mean, they placed and ranked in the middle of the conference as a new team. And now in their second year, like you said, they're kicking butt. Only 1 loss and a tie, and the rest are wins. Very good to see. That Carroll game in Waukesha on the 30th, so after this comes out, will be their final non-conference game, and then they face some conference opponents. October 4th, they got Whitewater. October 11th, they've got Platteville. So a tougher schedule coming up. Their last regular season game is on October 30th. So in a month, got a lot of time before that. And then next up, we got to talk about the women's soccer team. Currently on the year, they're 5-3-4. 4 ties. That's pretty crazy. Again, have not played any conference matchups, at least not yet as of recording. They're also coming off a win at home against St. Mary's University. That's St. Mary from Minnesota, and that was senior day, so pretty cool. Winning 1-0 in their next game at home again will be the start of conference play, just like the men's team. They got lacrosse this upcoming Saturday, and then Oshkosh this Wednesday, and then once again their regular season ends around the end of October, early November. November 1st is their final game, but again, still, I should say, a winning record for both the men's and women's soccer teams. We got to give them their due. Also, Cass Klitsky leading the team in goals with 6. So great stuff from them. That is my sport that I'll be talking about, or that I did talk about for this week. Cole, who do you got?
Well, we talked about it before the show. I'll talk about my club rugby team.
There you go.
Traveled up to Houghton, Michigan against Michigan Technological University. Started off really strong, up 21-5 at half, then just ran away with it in the second half. They ended up scoring a couple more tries, but final score 38-24, and a great showing to start off the year for us.
Heck yeah.
Still a little banged up, but we have a bye week this week.
I mean, you're a little banged up yourself. Is that revealing like insider information that you're a little banged up?
Just from last weekend.
Just from last weekend. Yeah. You'll be fine though. You just need a
yes.
little rehab. It's the bye week.
Yes.
You got time to recover. Yeah, I mean that's pretty awesome. You had to take all the way that what was it, 5.5 hour drive?
4.5 plus a time take, so 5.5.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you mean you made the drive and you guys dominated. That's awesome to see, and you kind of get that reward, the bye week now, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome for that. Also, just because we've been keeping track of the historic season for the UWSP football team, they had their bye this weekend, but their upcoming matchup that will be aired right after this episode premieres, which is on Friday, on this upcoming Saturday. They got their first game of WIAC play in Platteville against Platteville, who was the number 1 ranked team in the WIAC last year. They won the WIAC as a conference. So we'll see how they do, because they've dominated their opponents. St. Norbert at home, and then obviously Pacific University in Oregon. So good stuff there, but that is all from the 3 Point Tri-Campus Roundup. Thank you again to Point Brewery for sponsoring this episode and that segment. That'll take us on. Usually we go on right to the NFL update here, Cole, but I'm actually going to talk about some baseball, because we got to start with the positive first. I feel like we kind of started off with the negative last time, and, not necessarily saying that the NFL update will be all negative, but there's definitely a sprinkle in. However, MLB update is pretty positive. The Milwaukee Brewers have clinched the number 1 spot and the number 1 seed in the NL playoff picture. They had a historic 2025 campaign, as we've talked about.
This is their first time as number 1 seed too, correct?
Correct, yes.
Wow.
Not only that, they've beat their franchise record with wins with 97. They tied it recently for the 2011 season and the 2018 season. Both good season by the Brewers, where they had 96 regular season wins, and now they beat it by 1 game. They got 97 wins this season. That's crazy. Best in franchise history. They also have the best record in baseball, not just in the National League, in all of the MLB. That's fantastic. They're also first place in the NL Central for the 3rd year in a row. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, so got to bring that up. And just for some updates for the playoffs, Milwaukee has a nice almost 6 days off from their last game, their last regular season game against the Reds. the Reds, and they play the winner of the Padres-Cubs series. And their first game will be on Saturday, October 4th in Milwaukee. I'm curious to see who wins that series because both teams I don't necessarily love, especially the Cubs. I really don't like them.
I don't think anybody does if you're a Wisconsin Brewers fan.
Yeah, did you watch any of the like more recent games, especially against the Reds?
I don't really watch regular season baseball. I don't know. It's just boring to watch.
Oh,
162 games. Like, I'll watch them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's just me.
No, I mean, I kind of get it. It's a very long season. I will say I watched the first 6 games of the year, and I was like,
You were like,
oh,
I'm done.
no.
I'm done.
And we talked about that on the show last year. I was worried, especially pitching. I knew we had a lot of guys hurt, and we'd get guys back. But still, it seemed very concerning that it wasn't necessarily the pitching that was the worst part. It was the offense. But then I took a break for about a month, and I started watching them again in June. And right around that July kind of stretch all the way to mid-August is when we were hot. The Brewers were soaring, and I was watching a bunch of games in those stretch. I was watching Mizorowski a lot, paying attention to him in June. It was probably, honestly, the most I've watched Brewers baseball since 2018. And that was it was a great year. Obviously, ended in heartbreak, but it's been a really fun season. And these last 2 weeks or so, I haven't been watching them as much since the NFL started, and also the Brewers were going to make the playoffs no matter what at that point in time. But the fact of the matter is, they got the one seed. They're ready to play some playoff baseball. So I'm gonna double check really quick. I believe we got some results from a poll that we posted on Instagram just a couple hours ago as of recording, and the question was, do you think the Milwaukee Brewers have a shot to make the World Series? So before we give the answers to the results, and thank you to everyone with the engagement. Also, last week's episode did very well. Thank you to everyone watching. We appreciate you all. Leave comments in the description if you have any questions, concerns, or any opinions, because I'll be very glad to talk about them. I think next week or in the coming weeks, we're going to do kind of a Q&A thing just to get some engagement. But really quick, before we get into the poll results, Cole, I want your honest take on this. Do you think the Brewers actually I'm not going to get mad at you, whatever your response is. Do you think the Brewers have a legitimate shot at a World Series appearance or even title?
I think that they have a chance to win it all this year.
Oh, yeah.
My honest opinion. I talked about it last week on Attack the Mac with Brett. Mm-hmm. Me and him both agree they have the most serious shot of taking it all this year. I 100% believe that. Best record in baseball. Yeah, the rankings don't say anything. They say the Phillies and the Dodgers have the best chance, but I think the Brewers do.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't. They're not trustworthy.
The Phillies, I could see it. That's what scares me.
Yes.
But the thing with the Dodgers is they just should have won more games. I feel like they just kind of, I don't know. They're still a good team, but for how much money, for their roster, I just feel like they should seem a lot more powerful, and they don't to me. So that's your take. There was three options for the poll. Yes got 10 votes, so that was the majority, 43%. No, 4 votes, 17%. And there was also a third option. Ask Carlos. Carlos, 9 votes, 39%. Carlos can't talk, so
he's just a boy.
He's just a boy.
A baby.
He doesn't know yet, but he will learn very soon when he grows older. Anyways, that moves us right on to the MLB postseason picture. As I mentioned, the Milwaukee Brewers have the 1 seed for the National League. They'll have the bye. And this is what the rest of the National League looks like. The number 2 spot is the Phillies. They also have the bye. And then in the 6th seed is the Reds, and they're going against the 3rd-seeded Dodgers. And the 5th-seeded Padres are going against the 4th-seeded Cubs. So the winner of Reds-Dodgers will be playing the Phillies, and the winner of Padres-Cubs will be playing the Brewers. That'll move us on to the American League. The 1st seed for the AL was the Blue Jays. They have a bye, and the second seed was the Seattle Mariners, who also have a bye. Then, and I have something to mention about the NL really quick, but I'll finish this off. The 6th-seeded Detroit Tigers, very shocking that they fell to the 6th seed. They kind of, I don't know. They
I
at
heard
one
that they
point
had a really, really hot streak, and then they just fell off real quick.
Yeah, kind of like the Mets at a point in time. We'll talk about them in a sec. But yeah, now the 6th-seeded Tigers are taking on the 3rd-seeded Guardians, and the 5th-seeded Red Sox taking on the 4th-seeded Yankees, a historic series or a battle of teams, to say the least. Winner of Tigers Guardians will play the Mariners, and the winner of Red Sox Yankees will play the Blue Jays. Now, something I want to mention, there was obviously some tight races going into the final day of the regular season in the MLB, and one of those included the Cincinnati Reds and the New York Mets, who were both battling for that 6th and final seed in the National League, which I think is very funny because, don't get me wrong, the Reds are a decent team, and they played pretty well against the Cubs very recently, and they played well against the Brewers. Those first 2 games against Milwaukee, the Reds looked really solid, aside from Ellie De La Cruz making errors at shortstop, because I feel like every game I watch, he makes a mistake. He just does something stupid. He's still a great player. This is no knock, but I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of hype, and then every time I watch him, at least I'm not gonna knock you for it. Excuse me. On defense, just makes an error. But anyway, the Reds fighting for a playoff spot, surprisingly, and the Mets having the most insane slow-paced collapse. It was on June 12th, I believe. They had the best record in baseball. And slowly since then, like kind of devolving, they'd win some games and they'd lose some games. And it's one of the I believe it's either the highest payroll or one of the top 3 highest payrolls in Major League Baseball. And the fact of the matter is, in the last day, they needed the Reds to lose. What happened? The Reds lost the Brewers 4-2. And that was nice for Milwaukee for us because that gave us the bragging rights for the best record of baseball officially, and also a new franchise record for regular season wins. The thing is, though, the Mets needed the Reds to lose. They were rooting for the Brewers, and the Reds lost, so then all the Mets needed to do was win. What did they do? They lost to the Miami Marlins. It all ended on a double play, and I just think it's so funny. I think there's a lot of like fans, especially, Frank the Tank.
Where did the Marlins end up in the rankings?
Not that good. I mean, they beat us at one point.
But they beat the Mets to eliminate them from the playoffs.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's awesome.
I think it's awesome.
I'm so mad that the Mets beat us in the playoffs.
I never had any like big thoughts of the Mets. I was like, it's the Mets. I've seen the meme, Kingpin. Have you seen that from Into the Spider-Verse? It's like, hey, let's go, the Mets, baby, the Mets. But it wasn't until last year when they beat the Brewers in the wild card, and I was like, oh, don't like that team. And yeah, the fact that they sold the whole season, and the fact they didn't even make the postseason, like you're not even the top 6 teams in the National League. That's just crazy.
And they had just signed Juan Soto, huge contract,
insane contract. And it's funny. I mean, he wasn't. He was batting like decent, but like for the money they paid him, like
not worth it.
No. Sorry, that was a swig break. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got for baseball. I do think the Brewers have a legit shot. I think this week off is going to be nice because we've been very tired and exhausted. It's such a long season. If we play here's my thing. I would rather play the Padres in the sense like, the Cubs lost, and I just feel like that would be an insane series. But that would be kind of fun, us playing the Cubs. The thing that worries me is I feel like the Padres are actually the better team right now. I feel like they have a decent rotation. I just feel like historically, especially the most recent series against the Padres, I believe we lost 2 of the 3 games. But that was at a point where we had made the playoffs. We were pretty injured. It was the second to last series of the regular season. But yeah, I mean that's kind of all I've got for baseball. I'm very excited to see how the Brewers do.
Go Brew Crew.
Go Brew Crew. Do you have any other thoughts on the Brewers season or just baseball in general right now?
No, I just really hope that they can use its bye week to rest before they have to play either the Cubs or the Padres.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a full week because their last game was yesterday, Sunday, and they'll
almost a full week.
Right. It's 6 days. Right.
It's a good long.
I mean, it's
stretch.
Still absolutely like any day extra, they'll take it. Oh my gosh, root beer's got me gassy. That'll take us into the NFL update. We're gonna start it off with the Green Bay Packers. I have so much to talk about. And I'm gonna get.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get your thoughts. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I think I'll go first.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right. I have a lot of thoughts, but
so Packers, the defense actually started off really strong. The first quarter and a half, I'm like, this is amazing. But as soon as they blocked that field goal, I'm like, you're kidding me. Rich Bisaccia, he'll
trust.
be down here.
Trust. We'll talk about it.
He needs to figure something else, or else he gets the boot.
Yeah.
I'm
crazy.
Like 2 blocked field goals 2 weeks in a row. That can't happen. It can't happen.
No, it cannot. It can't. It just
And then
can't.
the defense was
It just can't.
They were so relaxed out there. Like that insane catch on the sideline, Dak Prescott heaving it downfield. Keyshawn Nixon's just standing in the end zone,
That was an
watching
overtime.
the other guy
Yep.
coming back and catching the ball. You need to be on him. You can't just let him do that. And Carrington Valentine had a poor game too.
For any sports fans living under a rock, I witnessed one of the most stressful watching experiences of anything in my life. And I literally, after that game, I literally said, I think I put a little bit too much of my mental health, my mental stake on people I don't know. But it's kind of my job. So, I don't get too mad. But yes, the Green Bay Packers tied with the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, 40-40 in overtime. First off, the first game ever in NFL history for the score to be 40-40, so that score got me. Plus, it's the second highest tie ever in a football game in the NFL. Oh my gosh, I just can't believe that game. I cannot. I'm still a little shocked from it. The bright spot, the consistent thing that I was like, yes, finally, no matter what kind of game we're having, this part of the team is great, and that's our defense. Our defense has been consistently fantastic, I would say, through the first 3 games. And last night they failed us. They failed us, Cole. I mean, you said it. You said it best at the beginning. I'm not putting this game on Micah. That's going to be the popular take. Oh, Micah got all this money and didn't do anything. Bro, he had the game-saving sack. And even though that's one play that makes this record 2-1-1 to 2-2. That's a big deal, and that's going to be a big deal down the stretch, especially. I mean, we essentially just played a quarter of the season, these first 4 games. And now we have a bye week upcoming. But Jordan Love had a phenomenal performance.
He saved my fantasy team still lost, but I mean it was still good to see him put up those numbers.
Put up a fight.
Yes.
Stay competitive.
With the run game being stagnant, Josh Jacobs finally had a pretty good game.
Yes.
Because he had 16 carries for 30 yards against the Browns. That is unacceptable, especially with our offensive line. Yeah, they're hurting at the right tackle spot.
And left guard.
Jordan Morgan needs to go. I don't like him.
Oh, you don't like him?
Me and Brett agree.
I have thoughts on
Brett
Jordan.
agree. We
Trust
do not
me,
like
you
Jordan
should.
Morgan.
Brett was on last week. He had his opinions on our offensive line, especially Elton Jenkins. Really quick, just want to. I already talked about Romeo Doubs. Had a fantastic day. You mentioned it. Josh Jacobs, 2 tugs. He had a phenomenal game. Jordan Love, fantastic. 31 of 43. Had 337 yards. 3 touchdowns. One of my favorite Jordan Love plays ever. He's rolling out to his left with pressure, like totally seeming like he's going to run it. Lobs it outside to Josh Jacobs.
God.
Resulted in a first down on 2nd and 18, I believe. Almost scored a touchdown.
28-yard rush. It was like a lateral.
Yeah.
But it was just
he used his
field
legs.
awareness was amazing on that play.
Yes. Besides the one play at the end of the first half, which I'll also get to in a moment, we're going to talk about Matt LaFleur and some of the decisions in this game. But for the most part, I mean, Jordan Love didn't really make a mistake. Obviously, people are like, oh, we had the 1 interception. He knew there was too many guys on the field, and he just kind of threw it up for a prayer, and sure enough, the penalty was too many men on the field, so it doesn't even count as a pick, obviously.
He was just barely on the field, though, too. It was
close. It was close, but I think that throw felt very errant when he threw it, and for the most part, he played safe. He threw the ball away several times, especially when former Packer Kenny Clark was screaming down his face. But my biggest issue that I feel like people are talking about it for sure, but not enough people. How do you have two blocked kicks in back-to-back weeks? And not even just blocked kicks, a routine extra point. Are we for real? And you know what?
Don't forget, it got returned for 2 points too.
Yes, returned for 2, and you know what it would have been? It would have been 14-0, but then it ended up 13-2. That's a 3-point swing, and the game was tied with a field goal, 3 points. Like, okay. Rich Bisaccia. I've always loved Rich. I liked him.
He was a great hire. He was a great hire.
I thought so. He was the oh my gosh,
interim head coach.
Yes, interim of the Raiders.
Helped the Raiders get to the playoffs
in 2021.
Yes.
And we snagged him up. Our special teams in 21 was awful. But if you look at the stats, our special teams, which includes all aspects of it, but our special teams in those years that we've had Rich Bisaccia is in the bottom half of the National Football League. Not only that, he is the highest paid special teams coordinator, and he has another role being an assistant head coach on our staff. And I just have to ask the question, what does he do? I'm being honest. Like, if you have back-to-back weeks with blocked field goals, it's not, it's a fluke. That's coaching. That's just straight up, you're not educating your players in the right areas of the game, and you're making mistakes. And it's beyond that. It's so systematic, it's insane. Why do we have our first-round receiver returning punts? Clearly, that's just not the right spot. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, when he got absolutely destroyed.
What was that spin move? What was that spin move? That was just unnecessary.
And that was stupid. That was stupid. That was on Matthew Golden, not necessarily Rich Bisaccia. But you know how I know that was the wrong decision? The next drive, when they punted, they had to do a new punt returner, and that was Romeo Doubs. And I still didn't love that because he was our best wide receiver in that game.
I think we should put Savion Williams back there, punt returning and kick return. He does kick return. He is fast. He is extremely hard to bring down.
He's hard to tackle. He's strong. But I think what's crazy as well is it doesn't highlight how good some of our players are. Like Brandon McManus, he's good. He's a good kicker. And Daniel Whelan is, in my opinion, like the best punter in the NFL. But
That's a good take.
And
I
honestly,
like
you wouldn't know that because of how our special teams is right now. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Look, it's shocking.
So right.
It's shocking. You can't. I've seen this story. I've read this book. I was in 2021. I didn't think we were going to the Super Bowl, mostly because our special teams was bad. And now, in back-to-back weeks, it was bad. Can we fix it?
I still remember that 2021 playoff game against the 49ers. I was at a confirmation retreat for my confirmation class. We watched the second half, and I'm going to swear too right now, the Packers special teams the bad. A blocked punt for a touchdown. You can't have that.
No.
Aaron Rodgers coming off his second straight MVP season in 2020 and 2021, and he played terrible.
I mean, he was playing good until the Mercedes Lewis fumble, and then that took all the air out of the sails of the offense. The defense played extraordinarily well, but no one's going to remember that because of, like you said, how bad the special teams was. It literally lost us the game in a playoff game. So I know I said it last week. I'm not on the train of, we got to fire this guy. But here's the thing. If you just look at the information that's given to us, let alone watching the games, you kind of know special teams is what's killing us right now. And it's been a negative point on the team for several years. And there's got to be accountability for it. If you can't fix that, then that is a personnel issue. That's who you've got on your coaching staff. And I love Rich, but I'm getting to the point. I think you're right. He might need to get the boot.
If another bad special teams play happens in the next couple of weeks, next week for sure, if it happens next week, he needs to be gone.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy. And obviously, we're seeing blocked kicks and blocked field goals all over the NFL.
All 4 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, it's happened a lot. But to me, it's a little different with a long field goal or a punt. Because I just feel like you see that more likely. But a blocked extra point, it's so routine. But it wasn't just that. Obviously, I mentioned the defense was poo-poo caca last night. Don't know why. I don't know where this came from. And I really hate to say it, but I know everyone's going to talk about the corners. Obviously, Keyshawn Nixon, I think, honestly, what's going to get missed is he had, in my opinion, a solid game up until in overtime. He's watch Jalen Tolbert run back out of the end zone and catch an incredible sideline grab from a great throw from Dak. Yeah. But the fact that Keyshawn was in the same state as us, he was watching the game. He wasn't playing the game, but I'm just going to be so honest. Carrington Valentine and Nate Hobbs both had really rough games, and that's the fact of the matter.
Take. It's a very good take. Nate Hobbs, I said it last night. I said he was a waste of a contract.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, wasted the contract because of that game he played.
It's too early to tell.
Really bad game.
It's too early to tell. He didn't play at all during the preseason. I think we got to give it a little bit more time because I think he had his first 2 games against Cleveland and against Washington were decent from what I saw. They weren't bad. They were good They were decent because I didn't see anything extraordinary. But yes, last night it was bad. Carrington Valentine also just played a little undisciplined, but so did the rest of this defense. I mean, the amount of missed tackles, and I love Edgerrin Cooper, but he had a rough game as well. The main bright spot on our defense besides Micah last night was Quay Walker.
He was all over the field trying
to
tackle,
leading the
everybody
team
else was
in
missing
tackles still. Yeah. And then the last thing I'd like to say for the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, brother, if you're watching, there's no way you're watching, but if you're watching,
send the link to him on Instagram.
Yeah, DM me. I love you, and I will always defend you as a head coach, but the play calling is questionable at times, and this game was almost a loss because of the time management on that final drive. We had less than half the time of the overtime period. We had less than 5 minutes to work with, and we got a game-saving play, Jordan Love over the middle, dot to Matthew Golden, our rookie, for a first down. It was on 4th down, so that was a great play.
Matthew Golden actually had a pretty good game, too.
Yeah, he had a very solid game. The deep ball at the right of the start was awesome.
I thought that was going to be a drop. I thought Dontavian Wicks and Matthew Golden were going to collide, and I'm like, you're kidding me. This can't happen at the beginning of the game. Then Matthew Golden catches it. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And also, it was before the half. There was just under a minute left, and in my personal belief, I thought I'd burp. My personal belief is you don't want to try risking it, throwing it down the field, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't talk about the offensive line and Jordan Morgan much. That first half was really rough, but from a former offensive lineman, the plays that they don't show you the replay of and don't show you of, I think Jordan Morgan actually improved a lot throughout that game. He was a big reason for some of those big breakout runs that Josh Jacobs had. I think he's good at anchoring. He's actually not bad at pass blocking, but he is probably our best run blocker right now. I know that might be a hot take, but he's pulling out, and he hasn't missed on any of his pulls. And those outside runs that Josh Jacobs has had, a lot of that's had to do with the pulls of Jordan Morgan. In fact, I think it's crazy no one's talking about it. Sean Ryan actually had a really difficult game last night.
I was a little bit mad at him. He had that holding play to start off the game.
He had a couple penalties. He gave up some bad protection issues. Kennard also had some misses, but so did Rasheed Walker. I think each one of the offensive linemen last night had a really bad play, but also had some solid plays behind it. So, yes, the first half offensive line was pretty rough, but I think they improved as the game went on. I mean, when you're scoring 40 points in a football game, 37 to take it into overtime, I just personally, in my opinion, it's not the offense's fault. Yes, they can make up for it. They can correct. But the defense, man, you just can't give up that many points with how many guys we got on that roster. Especially the other thing about LaFleur's play calling is at the end of the first half, you just don't risk throwing down the field for that exact reason. Then, Jordan Love lost the ball. Defense isn't in good position, and it was literally 2 plays, touchdown. And then the Cowboys took the lead going into half. I was very frustrated, but also, there's so many things to talk about this game. I just gotta race through. The penalties, there was
a lot on the Cowboys, a good amount on the Packers.
Yeah, and there was a lot of missed calls. It happens every game. I think we need to hold a conference with, can we stop with the Mike Parsons holding? It's nuts. There's one play where he's literally getting choked out. And on that same play, in overtime, Dak throws it, or I believe it was in overtime at the end of the fourth quarter. I don't exactly remember at this moment. But Dak throws, it's so obviously intentional grounding, and the official goes, no intentional grounding. There was a receiver in the area.
He was blocking.
Where?
The running back was blocking.
That's not a receiver.
He was not playing.
I think he imagined somebody, or he had Dallas money line. I really don't know. There were some missed calls in this game, but that's not the reason why we lost. Not at all. Or, sorry, it feels like we lost. We tied. And that leads me to the last point. Should we really still have ties? Come on. Do we really need to have a tie? Yes, you want to preserve some of the players. You don't want them to get injured. But play on, man. That was objectively.
I think ties are kind of dumb in the NFL. I think that it should go until there is a winner, in basketball, in baseball, in college football.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. College football. I prefer the college overtime rules, and I think this will be a point of contention. Especially because from an unbiased perspective, like if I'm not a Packer fan, which I am, but as a general football fan, it was a fantastic game. It was so much fun to watch. And yeah, ending in a tie just feels kind of underwhelming, to say the least. But Packers 2-1-1 now. We're now second in the division. The Detroit Lions back in front, or are in front for the first time this season at 3-1. Packers have a bye week, and then we come back week 6 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think we really need to fix the special teams issues. That's the biggest issue right now, because that's just something that shouldn't even be a point of it shouldn't even be a talking point. I'm really hoping this defensive game was a fluke. I think we need to really lock in on the missed tackles, because there was a lot, and the corner play just seemed at times. It wasn't so much our corners looked bad, it looked undisciplined, and that's something that can be fixed, I truly believe.
Going off of that, this bye week is going to help a lot.
The injuries.
The injuries, too, it's going to help a lot. I think once Aaron Banks should be healthy when he comes back after the bye week, hopefully.
I'm hoping
put
Zach
him back.
Tom comes back, bro.
Zach Tom, too. And like you said, Jordan Morgan, keep him at guard. He does not belong at tackle. Keep him at guard.
Yeah, we just got to stick to it. Give him one position to play at. Because, honestly, let's just say Aaron Banks doesn't play for the rest of the year. Like, say a freak incident happens. If he played the way he did in the second half, and let's just say he keeps getting better as the year goes on, I think the fan base is going to look more favorably upon him, and I think he might be a benefactor for us. He might help us down the road. That's all I've got for the Packers. Do you want to talk about – I got some talking points here for the rest of the NFL this weekend. Do you want to talk about them a little bit if you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear what happened the rest of the NFL this weekend. Cole.
So, starting off with the game in Ireland, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers defense dominated the Vikings, and that was awesome to see.
Comeback. Almost had a little comeback.
Yeah, but the first half, the Vikings were non-existent. The defense was suffocating to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got sacked a lot. I don't know the exact number, but he got sacked a lot. And Aaron Rodgers put in his work on offense when the Vikings defense was playing lackadaisical.
Yeah.
It's great to see Aaron Rodgers taking down an old foe in the Vikings.
I know. You see the clip where he took a smelling salt and then just threw an 80-yard touchdown.
Oh, did you see his the tush push? He's just standing there. That was awesome.
That was cool. That was funny. Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about one of these points. The Eagles and the Bills are the only two undefeated teams left in the NFL. Not a shock by any means. I think the Eagles. I think I saw a stat. Jalen Hurts just had a game where he didn't complete a pass in the second half and won.
They just ran the ball?
He just didn't complete a pass in the second half, which I think is insane. I am on the train that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but people who say he's top 5, like, he's thrown very few passes more
very good game manager.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good quarterback, like, especially, like, he's good with his legs. And I think I like him a lot as a quarterback because I feel like he doesn't make bad mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over. But he doesn't throw it a lot. And I feel like if they don't have Saquon Barkley last season, I really don't think they win the Super Bowl. But they had an all-star defense last year. Like, he had a lot of help, but it was just a good team. So no need for the hate. And as for the Bills, they had a close game against the Saints. They're going against a bad competition these next few weeks. But the AFC looks a little bit interesting right now. You want to talk about I have it at the bottom for the Chiefs-Ravens game?
I watched the end of that game, and I think I watched most of that game, and it was just I felt terrible for the Ravens. Their entire front seven was just wiped out. Their secondary was falling apart.
Yeah.
I think the only starter that I really saw in there was Kyle Hamilton at the end of the game.
I mean, Matt, I don't know if you saw this. It was today, Monday, or
and Lamar Jackson also went out with an injury too. But that was also good. They were already down 37-13 when he got hurt. So just take him out, let Cooper Rush take over the rest of the game, make sure Lamar Jackson doesn't get hurt anymore.
Did you see Matabike, their star defensive tackle, who I really like? He's now out for the rest of the season.
What happened to him?
So he had a neck injury, and he was placed on IR before this game. So it was like, oh, shoot, now our defense is really cooked. Now he's out for the year, and that's a really big blow because they have really struggled against the run these last two games. I mean, the Chiefs were one of the worst running offenses, and they did what they did. I mean, the offense looked very good against the Ravens. Supposedly, I mean, I said it 2 weeks ago. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl, and I still think the Packers are going to get there. We got a long road to go, but for the Ravens making it, I am pulling out of that race. The Ravens are riddled with injuries, and I just don't think this is the year. They had strong potential, in my opinion, but that loss to the Lions was kind of telling of how they are right now. But now this loss against the Chiefs, I mean, they have so many guys injured. Marlon Humphrey, Matabike, Kyle Van Noy.
Was Jair Alexander in there? I think he was probably hurt, right? Probably was.
Healthy scratch. Sorry, Jair. But yeah. Do you want to? Or actually, I'll just talk about this last point really quick because it really annoyed me. The Raiders choked to the Bears on Sunday.
Bears get the 800 overall wins.
Really?
Yeah, they got the 800 overall wins against the Raiders when the Raiders choked.
Wow.
They're still second most to the superior team, the Green Bay Packers.
The Packers, of course. Yeah, the first half of that game, Bears offensively couldn't do anything. Max Crosby was terrorizing that offensive line. He had his first interception in his career. But Ashton Genty had his breakout game. He was going insane. But, of course, the Raiders' offense outside of Genty sucks. Their offensive line, trash. Geno, this is probably his last season starting, maybe one more year, but I don't know. Maybe.
That's
giving it a lot.
Good maybe.
It sucks because I actually think the Raiders have a solid defense. They're resurrecting careers of guys like
Eric Stokes is actually playing pretty solid over there.
He's played solid, but guys like Devin White too. Oh my gosh, Adams from the Jets. I don't remember his first name. He was great with the Jets, then got signed by the Seahawks for a huge deal or traded, and he didn't play
Jamal Adams?
Jamal Adams, yes. Yeah. He's been playing pretty decent as well. Sucks to see that. Last thing, we're going to talk about college football because, in my opinion, this has been the best weekend of college football, D1.
And a lot of upsets.
Yes.
Florida State lost to Virginia.
That rush, did you see the rush?
I didn't really watch any of the games.
So it went to double overtime, and Florida State, the guy had a lot of pressure, just lobbed it up to the end zone. Could have gotten there, but the defender intercepted it. Right when the defender intercepted it, the crowd burst through, and I'm pretty sure the intended Florida State receiver got trampled. Like, it was insane. I think that was the craziest crowd rush I've ever seen.
Was it at Virginia?
Yeah, it was at Virginia, so that's a big upset at home for your home crowd. Alabama, Georgia. I love watching Alabama, Georgia. I grew up in Florida, so the SEC was a very big deal. And, yeah, that was a crazy game. Alabama was technically the underdog. I believe Georgia was higher ranked at the time. But Bama beat them 24-21. Now Georgia's ranked 12th. Also, Oregon beating Penn State.
Wow.
In Penn State, the whiteout game. It was insane. And they beat them in overtime, 30-24. And also BYU, Colorado. I only watched the start of the game just because it started late. Colorado was doing pretty well at the start, but they choked. I think they've only they only have one win on the year. I don't know. No, they're 2-3. They've already played 5 games. But the Buffs have a losing record to the BYU Cougars. That was the deciding factor for the losing record. They lost 24-21 to BYU. But that's really all I've got for today. A lot of hope for I was going to say UWSP baseball. That's not for months. For the Brewers, by the next time we talk, the Brewers will have played probably 1 or 2 games in their series. It's a big time for baseball fans. As for the Packers, need this week off. Good luck to all the UWSP sports that are playing within this next week. Thank you, Cole, for coming on the episode. I hope you had fun.
It was blast.
We're gonna be happy to have you on again. Thank you to Liam in the fishbowl, doing fantastic things behind the scenes as always. We love you, man. And from all of us here at SportsPoint, we'll see you next time.